For more analysis on what may have caused the crash, we're joined now by Matt Driskill, editor at Asian Aviation. Matt, thank you for taking the time to speak with us this morning. Investigators are now focusing on a bird strike as the likely cause of the tragedy. Help us understand what may have happened. How does a bird strike cause a crash like this?
Well, everything is speculation at this moment. The authorities are going through everything step by step. Bird strikes, while they are not uncommon, this appears to be a very uncommon occurrence if it was indeed a bird strike. Historically, if you look at past incidents, a bird strike may shut down one engine. In rare instances, like we saw with the so-called miracle on the Hudson River with Captain Sullenberger, it shut down both engines and they were able to land. They were able to ditch, I think, in the Hudson River in New York. So bird strikes are not uncommon. The mystery to me, and I think also for the investigators, is the landing gear did not appear. I've watched the video many, many times. It didn't even look, perhaps the main gear toward the middle of the aircraft had deployed, maybe not, but it certainly looked like the nose gear, it looked like it was still contained within the fuselage. So that is the real mystery, is why the landing gear was not deployed. And then again, you mentioned we had a second landing gear malfunction on this plane this morning. So that is quite the coincidence, and so we'll have to look at that. But apparently the plane was in good mechanical condition. It was a 737-8, not a MAX, and that is considered sort of the workhorse of the industry. I think there's something like 3,000 or 4,000 of those types of planes that are in service around the world. So right now it is a mystery. I mean, the bird strikes affecting a landing gear is something that I've actually never heard of.
So then what other factors could have caused the crash?
It's speculation at this point, and everyone hates to speculate. It could be a number of things. Again, maybe it was a bird strike. Maybe both engines failed. In that condition, I mean, it didn't look to me like the weather was a factor. It looked like it was pretty clear skies from the videos that I've seen. But when you get into these situations, the pilots are really overwhelmed. They've got alarms going off. They've got systems failing. They're trying to gain control of the airplane. In situations like this, in aviation, there's an old saying that you aviate, you navigate, and you communicate, which means that you aviate, you try to gain control of the plane, you navigate so that you can get to a safe landing place. And then you worry about communicating, whether it's with the tower or whatever. So again, I hate to speculate, but there appears to be multiple system failures, but we won't know anything until they get the data from the flight data recorder, and then also until they analyze the voice cockpit recorder.
How long will it take to get the data from the flight data recorder? When could we expect some answers?
It all depends. This is not like if you watch, me, I watch the Nat Geo Mayday shows all the time about the aviation industry and various crashes. It's not something that they wrap up in 30 minutes like on a television show. Again, you mentioned that the flight data recorder had some damage. Normally, investigators like the NTSB and other authorities, they have very good people, very good technicians that can extract a lot of the data, but it depends on how much damage, how much fire damage there was. These so-called black boxes, even though they're orange, are hardened. They are very well protected. But when you get into a crash like that, with the amount of fire that was going on, the plane exploded. It depends on the amount of damage that was incurred. But the data technicians are usually, these are top guys, and they're very good at extracting whatever data survived.
You'd mentioned that you watched the video of the crash several times. What do you think could have been done to prevent this crash or even to help the plane land safely?
I'm not a pilot, and I would not want to be a pilot. Again, it's too early at this point to tell. The real mystery again is, apparently the pilot did a go around in order to try a second landing. So something was going on. But how to prevent this kind of a thing until we know what happened, why the landing gear did not deploy, and those kinds of things. It's really too early to tell what could happen or what could have happened to prevent this.
So, what kind of challenges can we expect crash investigators will face in the coming weeks and months as they analyze those black boxes?
The challenge is, again, it goes back to how damaged the flight data recorder was. It goes back to they have to check the maintenance records for this plane. The coincidence of another landing gear mishap this morning that you talked about. I think people are going to be looking at Jeju Air's maintenance, repair, and overhaul practices. Apparently, the plane was in good mechanical condition. And also in South Korea, I've covered South Korea. I've been there many times. They have an excellent record with maintenance, repair, and overhaul. We call it MRO in the industry. They spend a lot of money and they have a lot of expertise. The aviation industry has been pretty safe in South Korea. So, the challenge is to get the data, to go step by step. Again, it's not something that's going to be solved overnight. It's going to take probably at least several weeks, if not longer, to fully analyze all the data and come up with a reason why or the multiple reasons why this kind of thing happened. Again, pilots, when they get into these kinds of situations, they are really overwhelmed. They have so much information coming at them through alarms that they if it's a multiple system failure where maybe they've got one engine out, which they can handle pretty well, but when you have two engines out, you've got a landing gear failure, you've got other things going on. It's really, really difficult to aviate and to get out of a situation like that. So we'll just have to wait and see what the black boxes tell us.
Thank you, Matt, for sharing your insights with us. We were speaking to Matt Driskill, editor at Asian Aviation.